Greetings from Elite English Academy. Dear friends, welcome to this NTA Net English exam preparation series. Dear friends, in this video I am going to discuss the syllabus that is allotted for Unit 5 of Net English exam. So it is titled Language, Basic Concepts, Theories and Pedagogy and English in Use. If you compare this unit with the rest of the literature units, preparation for this unit is somewhat limited. If you prepare for the first 4 units, poetry, prose, drama, novels, so however you prepare, though you prepare too many works, there will be always something to cover. At the same time, this unit is something limited. So if you prepare with the right strategy, with the correct material, most of the questions you can answer very easily from this unit. There are 6 important areas in which repeatedly the questions are asked. First, the history of English language, language learning theories, approaches, methods and techniques in English language teaching, linguistics, phonetics and the schools of language learning. These are the important topics in which different questions are asked repeatedly. So if you concentrate the preparation regarding these units, it will be very easy to answer most of the questions asked from this unit. To get a fair idea, let me discuss the questions asked in the previous 2 exams in NET. First, let's discuss 2019 NET exam. There was a question like this. Given below are 2 statements. One is labeled as assertion and the other is labeled as reason. In every NET exam, based on this assertion and reason, at least there are 5 questions. So it is really difficult at the superficial level. But if you closely analyze the question, it will be very easy to answer. Look at the assertion. Dialects are the breadth, range, social as well as regional varieties. Reason, a dialect describes variations not only at the phonological level but also at the levels of text and syntax. If you know what is a dialect, this question is a cakewalk. What is a dialect? Dialect is the way the people speak a particular language in a particular region. So based on the quality of that particular speech, the dialect will be either considered as standard variant or non-standard variant. In the history of English language, there are many dialects that were rejected as non-required dialect. For example, now look at the assertion. So now you know what is dialect. Dialect means a variant of speech that is specific to a particular area. Dialects are the breadth range, social as well as regional varieties. So the first thing is correct. Dialect is related to the language that is spoken in a particular area. Fine. Then reason. A dialect describes variance not only at the phonological level but also at the levels of text and syntax. So the variety refers to not only the speaking form but also the writing as well as other forms. So this is also the correct explanation. So the answer, both A and R are true, but at the same time R is not the correct explanation of A. So what is given in assertion is not explained by reason. So the reason has got its own explanation separately. So the important thing is, if you know what is a dialect, then definitely this question will be easily answered. The second one. Which of the following system is correct? Language is the language system and parole the individual usage. The other options are language is the language use and parole the individual system. Language is the language in abeyance and parole the individual application. Language is the language collective and parole the individual deviation. So if you have just some idea about Ferdinand de Saussure's work, it will be easy to answer this question. This particular principle is proposed by Ferdinand de Saussure in his book Course in General Linguistics, which was published in 1916. It is a series of lectures made by or delivered by Ferdinand de Saussure. According to Saussure, what is slang? Lang is socially shared system that makes production and comprehension possible. So it is each language is something external to all speakers so that each speaker cannot change it. It is a system of signs that from structure. So it is a system of languages that is already there. Then parole. Actual speech production. Apart from language, there are some other things that are involved in parole. So there is the speaker's will, mood, tone, etc. To generalize, language is the set of system that already pre-exists, that is used by many people, that has been used by the people if anyone wants to speak. Parole depends on not only that sign, that set of language, but also it depends on the mood of the speaker. Now based on that, please approach the options. Language is the language system. So the first part is correct. And parole, the individual usage. So language is available common for everyone, and parole depends on the individual usage. As mentioned earlier, it depends on the individual's mood, tone, etc. So the answer is the first option itself. Language is the system and parole the individual usage. If you become familiar with these two concepts, lang, parole, proposed by Ferdinand Saussure, so what is what, then this question is easy. Now let's move to the third one. Which of the following stylistic features characterize spoken discourse? You know, there are four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. So among the skills, only one skill is referred here, that is spoken. So there are four options. Among the four options, two options refer to speech. How? Great use of explicit connectives. Connectives, the linguistics discourses, cohesive markers, and but consequently, these are the words who are called as connectives. Second option, great dependence on verbal connectives. Third one, great syntactic embedding. Fourth one, greater use of fillers and repetition. The trick of the question is, all the things, all the four options are related to language and usage and speech, but two are explicitly related to speech. For example, great use of explicit connectives. Connectives are individual words that help us in speech and writing. So great dependence on verbal connectives. So verbal connectives, see, when you write something, instead of using and, instead of using any connectives, just you can put a colon or semicolon, that will convey. But here in speech, you cannot use a full stop or comma like that. You have to use that. So 2 is one of the options, right? Next one, great syntactic embedding. What is syntax? Syntax is grammar. So grammar is specific to writing. So that also we can remove. Great use of fillers. So what is fillers? Sometimes when we speak, we may not be able to speak coherently. We may miss a word. At that time we will think. So to fill that gap, we may use the sound like that. This is called fillers. So can we use the fillers in our writing, like dot dot dot, as students use when they write exam? Whenever they get a pause, they just put a full stop there. No, we cannot use it. So two things that are exclusively related to speeches. One is the dependence on verbal connectors. Second one is greater use of fillers and repetition. So option 2 and option 4 are the answers. Next question. Which two aspects of cultural diffusion in the age of globalization need to be addressed by pedagogy of language in general and of English in particular? Pedagogy, the methodology of teaching. So methodology adopted to teach. Right. What are the options? Unidirectionality, multidirectionality, complex and extensive, simplistic and abbreviated. So now look at the question. Which of the two aspects of cultural diffusion? What is cultural diffusion? So when one set of words and sentences, ideas or cultural set is followed by one group, it has the ability to just get transmitted to another group. For example, mostly how we dress ourselves, how our pattern evolves in the society, it is based on the cinestars. The dress they use in the cinema, so that kind of dresses are available in the market, so people go and purchase it. So the same way, so the influence of one community in speech and writing in another cultural discourse on the other is called as cultural diffusion. So now look at the options. Unidirectionality. Unidirectionality, so it is in one side. Multidirectionality, all sides, many sides. Complex and extensive. Is it complex? Then simplistic and abbreviated. So to be precise, all the options are related to this cultural diffusion. Sometimes it may go in one direction, sometimes it may go in multi-direction, sometimes it will be easy, sometimes it will be complex. So all the options are correct regarding this question. The next question in discussion is, match the following technological advancements impacting learning and teaching of language with their corresponding years. Of course, until this question is asked, we are not sure whether the certain things are part of educational things. For example, hypertext markup language, streaming of video on the internet, myspace.com and Facebook. So at least one particular thing, if you know, you can easily fix it. Especially most of you may have a Facebook account. So when Facebook was found, if you know this answer, definitely the options are arranged in such a way the other options will be right. Facebook was found in July 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg. So if you know this answer, where is it available? So D1. So option 1. Option 1 is the answer. So other things you just match and do it. Question number 6. How many syllables are there in the word interestingly? So this particular question is asked from phonetics. You should know the syllabification. So what is a syllable? The number of syllable is decided in a word based on the number of vowel sounds available. So that is the basic definition. If you know this answer, easily you can give the correct option. So 3, 6, 5, 4. So if you have any doubt regarding this particular word interestingly, so interestingly it has got 5 syllables. So that is the answer. So just the blind definition is that the number of vowel sounds decides the number of syllables in a word. This question was asked in 2019 June exam. In which of the following paired terms the relationship between the active and passive forms of a sentence can be established? I would say this is one of the most difficult questions because all the options given are very difficult to understand. What is deep structure and surface structure? Deep structure refers to what do we think, and surface structure refers to the language that we speak. Signifier and signify. Signifier, the language; signified, the actual thing that is referred. Metaphor, open comparison. Metonymy, something that stands for other. For example, if I tell you the word Silicon Valley, what will come to your mind? So the software industry available in US. Like that, syntagmatic and paradigmatic. Syntagmatic analysis is the set of analysis of syntax, that is grammar or surface structure, that leads from one chain to another. Like that, paradigmatic refers to a typical example of something. So that is denoting the relationship between a linguistic item and another thing. So based on these definitions, if you go with that, so the thing that conveys the active and passive form comes under deep structure and surface structure. Next, which of the following aptly names the language resulting from the contact of two mutually unintelligible language systems? This is one of the very interesting questions from linguistics point of view. If you become familiar with all these simple words, you can easily understand. For example, Carol, which means a mother tongue formed from the contact of a European language. Then dialect, as discussed earlier. So it is a speech variant that is specific to a region. Colloquial, lower level of language. Then pidgin. Pidgin is a grammatically simplified means of communication that develops between two or more groups that do not have a language in common. For example, so when the British people came to India first, to establish communication, what was available was pidgin. That means Indians do not know English. The British do not know the native language. So the British person spoke in English, the Indian person spoke in one of the Indian languages, but communication was there. So this communication of mutually unintelligible language. What I speak, you will not understand. What you speak, I will not understand. But there will be a common understanding. There is misunderstanding. The minimum level, even 5% of understanding may be there. So that is called pidgin. For example, if you go to a strange country where you do not know their language, if you need water, if you just sign, so I need water with your hand, so definitely you will get water. So similarly, the British people communicated like that using pidgin. So the answer is pidgin. Next one. Who among the following established and popularized the concept of cardinal vowels? So any student who studied BA English might have come across the dictionary of pronunciation. What is that? Daniel Jones dictionary. Daniel Jones is the person who made this distinction. So what is cardinal vowels? The vowels that are made by the extreme stretch of our tongue, like E, O, like that. There are a few cardinal vowels. Next one. Which of the following combinations correctly defines the phonological system of Indian English in relation to Standard English? Please study the question carefully, even without any preparation. If you focus the question, understand the question, you can easily answer the question. So two options you have to choose. Fine. What defines phonological system of Indian English in relation to Standard English? So the comparison between Indian sounds, right? Indian English sounds with Standard English sounds. What are the things to be included? Absence of aspirated consonants, simplified vowel system, similar international pattern, presence of voiced aspirated consonants. So you leave the technical aspects here. So two things you have to choose among the four options that is related to Indian English. So do we have the vowel system? Yes. So do we, or are we closer to the international pattern, or do we follow that international pattern? Yes. Then let's go with that. These are the two options that describe Indian English in relation to the standard English. So they do not worry about how do you pronounce consonants, aspirated consonant, how do you pronounce voiced consonant. They don't worry about it. We have followed the simple vowel system prescribed by the British people, and we are following the international pattern. We try to follow. So these are the two options. Next one. The dialects of English that have resulted from the regional separation of English-speaking communities have not acquired the status of languages. So look at that. This is the third question in which the word dialect appears. So in the last two NET exams, the word dialect has appeared at least thrice. Now go for that. The dialects of English that have resulted from the regional separation. So it is related to regional speech, English speaking communities have not acquired the status of language. Of course, there are many dialects in England. Only the Highland and the Mid Highland variant in Middle English period, and in Old English period Wessex dialect. These like that, some dialects only got the official recognition. So the first statement is true. Second one, Germanic dialects that are now Dutch, English, German, Swedish have become distinct owing to geographical depression, dispersion. Of course, based on the Indo-European group of languages in Germanic branch. So now Dutch, it is spoken in a country. English across the world. German, it is specific to Germany. Swedish, it is specific to Switzerland. Like that. So there are some dialects. So they became a separate successful language because of the geographical dispersion. So that is also true. So both the things are true. So option 2, both A and R are true, but R is not the right explanation, of course. So the first thing is some dialects did not assume the official status. The second one is because of geographical dispersion, certain languages have become distinct languages on their own. So we have to go for option 2. We have to be very careful with the questions like assertion and reason. Next one. Which among the following clusters matches the prose style that came to be known as Calylese? So it is an interesting question. So that comes in the history of English language. Right. So apart from the option, let me give you the information about what is Calylese style. The literary style or literary mannerism are characteristics of Thomas Caley, whose writings are marked by long and irregular sentence constructions, neologism, formation of new words, and Germanism. He is a German scholar who used to write in long sentences. One sentence will run through a paragraph. He used to use unintelligible words. He used to invent new words. So if a person write or speak in an unintelligible way, not intelligent is different, unintelligible, the way we cannot understand, so that thing or that type of speech can be called as callous. So based on that, just go. Option 1, capital letters, exclamation marks, and phrase in German. Question marks, long sentences, phrases in French. Then frequent ellipses, Latin sayings, biblical phrase, capital letters. Option 4 is just removed. Then frequent ellipsis also is just removed because he does not use ellipsis at all. Then question marks, long sentences, phrases in French. So here one option is, if you know the origin of this writer, then you will go with the first option because he is from Germany. So naturally, German phrases will be there in his writing. So that is the answer. Capital letters, exclamation marks, and phrases in German. Actually, it is etc. Long sentences, other options will come. Question number 13. Assertion. Language constructs meaning. Reason. Language structures meanings depend on the speaking subject's perception, context, and auditor. So in structural linguistics, this is a base idea. What constructs meaning? The way we speak constructs meaning. So language constructs meaning. That is true. Language structures meanings depending on the speaking subject's perception, context, and auditor. Who construct meaning? First, language constructs meaning. Sometimes when we talk to our friends, when the misunderstanding comes, the thing we convey is, you don't understand what I speak. I did not mean that. That shows we did not use the correct language. So, what are the things that are involved in understanding? So, the person's subject, perception, context, and listener. Sometimes the speaker may be very effective, but if it is not listened to properly, the meaning will be lost. So, A is the right one, R is also the right one. Moreover, R is the right explanation of A. In tradition, ELT methods and materials, the native speakers elevated and idealized against stereotyped non-native speakers. This tendency is dubbed dash by Adrian Holiday. Look at the question carefully. In ELT methods and materials, the native speaker is elevated and idealized against stereotyped non-native speakers. So what is RP? RP means received pronunciation. What is the explanation for that? The standard pronunciation. The objective of every L2 learner of English is pronouncing towards or improving the language pronunciation towards RP. We cannot attain RP, but trying to achieve RP. So that is the explanation for this. So the tradition of ELT methods idealizes the native speakers, which was called as native speakerism. The N ending to denote the plural nouns, as in oxen, children, brethren, has survived from the options are given: Middle English period, Anglo-Norman case, Old Middle English pronunciation, custom of plurals, Old English practice of making plural nouns. Right. In the history of English language, it comes in a very systematic manner. In the Old English period, there was no difference between singular and plural. They did not distinguish. Even gender formation was not there. Whereas in the Old Middle English period, in the early part of the Middle English period, they started using en for plurals. So the surviving words as mentioned here, oxen, child, children, brethren. So the option C, Old Middle English pronunciation custom of plurals. Dear friends, the key for the preparation of this unit is identifying the right materials. There are just 6 to 10 topics that you have to prepare. So if you get the right materials within 1 week, you can complete the preparation of the entire unit. I hope this video is useful to you. Kindly like and share among your friends so that some people may be benefited. If you wish to continue your journey with Elite English Academy, feel free to call 6381458485. Thank you. All the best.